Arboria is a third-person dark fantasy action RPG roguelite about a bunch of trolls developed by Polish indie studio Dreamplant. It is still in early access, but it is set to release August 2021. Here's what the game looks like so far and my thoughts on it. Arboria released into early access in May 2020. I played it back then and honestly it wasn't very good. It was clunky, combat felt off and the game was rather bare bones. Has that changed? We'll get to that, but first a bit of background. There's this troll village, Arboria, and all is well until the roots of the father tree gets corrupted. This threatens the whole village and the head honcho over there, some shaman, sends trolls down the depths to heal the roots. You're playing all of those trolls and if you die you can pick a new one and go again, hence the roguelite element. The game plays out in two areas. You have Arboria, which is your typical hub. By completing more quests, healing more tree roots and collecting more resources, you unlock part of the village. New NPCs become available that one way or another impact your troll. For example, there's Ted the Bat and he's some sort of weapons vendor. You can get the ability from him to scrap weapons you don't need and then use that scrap to craft a starter weapon for your next run. He also gives various combat related bonuses to damage, etc. Another NPC is Big Mama, the mother of the fairies, and she's more focused on Rata, which is the fairy that accompanies you on your travels. Rata can get a bigger inventory, more skills and even ultimate abilities. I think you get the point, right? The resources you require to upgrade all of this you find in the second area, the network of randomly generated underground levels, where the main questline plays out as you're following this other troll that went rogue in the prologue called Gobok. He finds a hat that makes him gradually more intelligent and via recorded holograms you follow in his footsteps. In the underground levels you find various items to help you on your way. There is a wide range of weapons available like swords, double blades, hammers, spears and even a whip. I tried out several weapons during my run and they're well designed because each weapon has its own playstyle and special attacks. There are several armor types as well in 3 varieties, light, medium and heavy. Based on the rarity of the armor there are perks on it such as +5 strength or additional movement speed. Both weapons and armor can be combined with essences. For example, a regular sword combined with a fire essence turns it into a sword that does fire damage. If you hit an enemy a couple of times with a fire sword, he starts to take burn damage over time. Simple but effective system. You can do the same with armor, and by using essences you can get additional protection versus certain elements. Each underground level indicates which elemental type the enemies are, so you can use this to your advantage. Apart from weapons and armor, there are several magical skills as well, such as a ground slam, a teleport or a flamethrower. You can apply essences again to these skills too, and all 3 of these, weapons, armor and magical skills, tie in nicely with the 3 main attributes Arboria has, which are strength, toughness and focus. Some weapons perform better with strength, others with toughness. Focus is used for mana and mana regen, and that is great for magical skills. You get to really build a unique troll this way with a unique build, but there is more. Occasionally you find a mutagen, which is a permanent bonus that sits in your inventory. These can be very strong depending on the rarity. I found one that increases enemy damage taken by 20% after I hit an enemy, stacking up to 3 times. Not bad, doing 60% more damage. And then I found one having me do more damage the more mana I had. You can stack these things and become super strong. These do take up slots in your inventory however, as does the stuff you need to collect to upgrade your village. Here some inventory management comes into play, but then again after a few runs you can upgrade the inventory slot, so ultimately you're going to be completely fine. To top it all off, you have consumables as well, like a refillable health potion, potions that make you emanate certain essences, and several totems you can place on the ground which gives you various bonuses. The randomized underground levels have a lot of fairy stored inside of them, these blue crystals that you collect. It's the main source for unlocking stuff in the village. You can carry limited amounts of fairy though, but fortunately after each completed underground level you end up in a small area between zones where you can upgrade your hero, increase either strength, toughness or focus, as well as get a mutagen. This is the place to dump all your fairy, meaning it is now safe and can be used in the village, and you can track what happened to Gobok via the holograms. Hopefully you now have a good idea about the several mechanics in the game and how you progress through the game. Now the big question is, of course, is it any fun? Well, I think so. I'm 5 hours in so far, collecting resources, unlocking more and more parts of the village and getting better at the game. I think the combat, for example, is pretty well done. You can lock on enemies and then it's a matter of dodging an enemy attack and retaliating yourself. It's rather tactical in that sense. When facing multiple enemies, it does get a little bit messy, but generally speaking, the combat feels good and it's a lot of fun. I always had the idea I was in control of the fight because enemy attacks are well telegraphed. You should have a look at the combat though and see if this is something you enjoy, because this is a significant part of the underground grind. The fact that the underground levels are randomized is a very smart decision. Levels are typically pretty small, but they have enough minor events in there to keep it interesting. There are upgrades all over the place, there are several routes to heal, you find the occasional chest which spawns more enemies, there are slain trolls you can loot, the game has many secrets to unlock, there's quite a bit of enemy variety, and last but not least, boss fights. I fought around 4 bosses and had a lot of fun with that as well. The few upgrades I unlocked from the village felt impactful, like making stronger trolls, expanding inventory, and crafting several weapons. It shows that the game ties everything well together, and the roguelite element isn't just an afterthought, but well integrated in the entire game. I personally am enthusiastic about the graphics. I think the game looks really good actually, but that's rather subjective. The underground levels can be very atmospheric for this reason, and I really felt I was exploring some weird ancient civilization overrun by a bunch of bugs and mutants. The tracks and sound designs are great too. I love the soundtrack of the game. It's got tribal vibes and a lot of percussion during battle, which fits the whole troll background. I'm trying to think of any glaring issues I had with the game, but I honestly can't think of anything. It's not all perfect, but I've seen how the game launched in early access a year ago and I'm playing the game now and it's night and day, honestly. The game has its final 1.0 release in August. It's June 18th as I'm writing this, so that's in like 6 to 8 weeks. The game won't change significantly anymore during that time though. Some new weapons and armor and enemies get added, but the vast majority of the 1.0 release is in the version I played. Currently, the game is priced at 16 euros. That's 25% of a AAA price over here. It's not a lot of money. If you take that into account, I think you can easily have 20 hours of good fun with this game, potentially much more if you feel like it, and that sounds like a good value proposition to me. If you think 20 hours of fun for around 20 bucks is a good deal, you should probably put this on your radar. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. And if you really like the video and want to support the channel, you can grab a YouTube membership for $2, which gets you absolutely nothing, but it gets me $2 for love and support. You can also check out my Nexus store, link in the card and description, where I'm selling a few of my favorite games. And if you buy those, I get a small cut. Arboria might be on there at launch, who knows. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all, see you soon, bye bye.